reachoutwis.org.
Paid for by Advancing a Healthier Wisconsin Endowment with support by the Medical College of Wisconsin, the War Memorial Center, and reachoutwis.org.
Built Right, one location saves you money.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
The Crew are out in Colorado to hit that Rocky Mountain high.
1-2 pitch, high fly ball, left field, inside the pole, gone, Jackson Churio.
Our Brewers Rockies coverage starts tonight at 7:05 on your home for the Milwaukee Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
At 9 o'clock, it's 27 degrees and sunny, on our way to a high of 40 degrees today with clear skies tonight, ahead of rain and snow tomorrow. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Adam Roberts. We'll check on the markets in a moment, but we start the hour with some breaking news. This just in, Harley-Davidson CEO Jochen Zeitz has informed the company he plans to retire, Harley beginning a search for his successor now. Milwaukee Business Journal reporting Zeitz will remain in the position until the company's board identifies his successor. Zeitz leading the company through a series of changes, including closing their historic Milwaukee headquarters, focusing on more profitable models at the expense of entry-level bikes. In a statement, Harley's board said it is, quote, grateful to Mr. Zeitz for his many significant contributions to the company. We'll have more on this story throughout the day right here on WTMJ. Back to Wall Street. Markets opening today up pretty significantly. The futures were trending higher overnight, and right now the big three all in the green by significant margins, at least 3.5% for all of them. This as more tariffs are set to hit tomorrow, what the White House has described as reciprocal tariffs on imports from dozens of countries. ABC's Mary Bruce.
I asked the president, would you be open to a pause in tariffs to allow for negotiations?
Well, we're not looking at that. We have many countries that are coming to negotiate deals with us, and they're going to be fair deals, and in certain cases they're going to be paying substantial tariffs. There'll be fair deals.
The White House says almost 70 countries have come calling.
Despite the hot start for the markets today, investors still fearing that U.S. tariffs could lead to a global economic slowdown, thus affecting businesses in Milwaukee.
MMAC President Dale Koinga has spoken to 50 Wisconsin CEOs.
Most CEOs believe that we are in a recession or we are going into recession.
Recessions generally lead to decreased consumer spending, causing a negative impact on small businesses.
Right now, the markets are fearing that what they thought was a negotiating tool, it's actually a belief of the president that tariffs are smart economic policy and it leads to prosperity.
Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
In West Dallas.
Do you admit or deny any or all of those counts?
Deny.
That is Neil Stefik, owner of West Dallas Bar, the Drunk Uncle, appearing before the Common Council's Public Safety Committee Thursday, denying 7 misconduct allegations against him. Several women who visited Stefik's bar around a year ago say he was visibly intoxicated, making inappropriate sexual comments while lifting his shirt. A separate group of women later saying Stefik berated and threatened to shoot and kill them. He's already at risk of losing his liquor license due to unpaid sales taxes and facing a defamation lawsuit over his response to a 1-star review. And a man is heading to prison for abusing 2 children barricaded inside a Milwaukee home in 2023. 40-year-old Joel Mankey of Milwaukee will serve 10 years after his girlfriend's 7- and 9-year-olds were found wandering the streets naked and bruised in July of that year. A judge Monday called the whole situation, quote, unthinkable.
This was confinement in a room covered in filth and chronic neglect that resulted in these children being deprived of normal human interaction.
The boy's mother, Katie Cook, serving 10 years in prison for similar felony charges. Time now for news about your money, the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The best start for the big three in several days. Right now, the Dow is up almost 1,400 points to start the day at 39,363. That's up over 3.5%. The NASDAQ also up big, up 4.2%, nearly 670 points in the green at 16,272. And the S&P 500 is up 993 points this hour at 5,255. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather coming up next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Times 9:05.
The most common reason pain sufferers come to us is to be able to perform their daily tasks without suffering through them. Grandparents who want to be able to take their grandkids on walks and to the park. Or those that just want to be able to get out of their vehicle with more ease than pain. Rejuvenex pain treatments can help, and the sooner you get to calming down that pain, the better it will be. These are powerful, FDA-approved pain treatments precisely administered with an extremely small needle to get to the root of your pain. And before you know it, you'll feel the anti-inflammatory power of Toradol and the cushioning relief of hyaluronic acid. Positive patient results are regularities, not rarities. And we do this conveniently in office, so it's very easy for you. And we're in network with most insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid, which could mean zero out-of-pocket costs for your pain relief treatment.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
I've got a fantastic trip that I'm planning right now. I'd love for you to be with us. It's America's Music Cities for the holidays. It's early December. It's an 8-day tour of some great spots. New Orleans, Memphis, and Nashville. Check out New Orleans, the vibrant French Quarter, all decked out for the holidays. Then we're on to the amazing city of Memphis, Elvis Presley's Graceland. It is going to look absolutely fantastic. On to Nashville, we make chocolate, take a horse-drawn carriage ride, and we stay at the magical Opryland Resort. It's with Colette, the travel company I trust. We'll handle all the details for you, flights, meals, hotels, local experiences. I'm going to be there. I want you to be with us. Send me an email. I send you the information. John@WTMJ.com. John@WTMJ.com. Space is limited. We'll discover America's musical legacy wrapped in dazzling lights and seasonal decor. Let me get you the info. I'd love for you to be with us. John, John, @WTMJ.com. It's America's Music Cities with Colette, the travel company I trust.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. Florida, winner of its third NCAA Men's Basketball Championship with a 65-63 win over Houston Monday night. Cougars failing to get a final shot off on their last possession. This college basketball tournament update brought to you by Outdoor Living Unlimited. It's Bucks and Timberwolves tonight from Fiserv Forum. Season coming down to the wire here. Bobby Portis, by the way, available to return for Milwaukee from his 25-game suspension tonight. And it's Brewers Rockies in Colorado this evening. Freddie Peralta getting the starting nod for the Crew against Kyle Freeman. Our coverage begins after the 7 o'clock news here on your home of the Brewers, WTMJ. Let's check the roads now. Your WTMJ time saver traffic. Still working on this crash in the left lane at 894 West near Loomis. That has been going on for several hours now. It's already tight through there as crews are working on several construction projects. So it's a little bit slow as you head west out of around the airport spur on 94 North and then heading west onto 894. After you get past the accident point, though, it's smooth sailing through the bypass. Also, a couple of other incidents. One on 794, right shoulder block near Car Ferry on 794 East. That's due to a broken down vehicle. And then closer to the airport, possible lane debris just in on 794 South right near Layton. So we'll look into that. Otherwise, your drive times are looking okay this hour. And your WTMJ forecast for today, sunny but continued cold. Struggling to hit 40 degrees for most of us today. We'll see clouds increase tonight with a low of 31. Rain and snow possible on Wednesday. Some accumulation is possible, but it's not likely to stick around with a high of 41. Thursday, rain and snow early in the day of 42 the high. 46 sunny on Friday, back up above 50. 52 the high on Saturday, and mostly sunny skies. Right now in Madison, it's sunny and 29. In Green Bay, we've got plenty of sun and 31 degrees. Waukesha, sunny and 28. And in Milwaukee, sunny skies and 27 degrees. I'm Adam Roberts. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 9:09.
Good morning, Wisconsin. So let's pour that coffee and talk to some experts about what's going on in Milwaukee, Madison, Washington, and beyond. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. It's the Political Power Hour on WTMJ. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
Should we talk about the government?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. You know, I don't really pay attention to what the morning show does because I'm busy getting ready for my show. But I come in, I walk in, and there's like 10 texts about ducks. What was the newsy part of ducks this morning? Do we know what that was? Somebody texted me what the hell they were talking about. Or was it one of their wacky bits that they do as part of the morning zoo here at WTMJ? Anyway, speaking of wacky, he's not just wacky, he's also very smart, intelligent, great writer. He's written books. Anti-Knowledge is one, and he's got countless websites, antiknowledge.com. He writes for nationalreview.com. He is Christian Snyder. Good morning, Christian.
Good morning, and thank you for not replacing me with a penguin.
Right.
Apparently you're bringing all the penguin jobs back to America.
Yes, and it's good that apparently we can see you as well, which I'm not seeing you at the moment, but apparently the audience can. All right.
Unfortunately for the audience.
No, I wouldn't say that. You're a good-looking man. You're like a middle-aged man, right? I think I've pegged you in the right slot. Middle-aged man,
Yes.
Would you agree?
That is correct.
All right. We both wear glasses, I think, which gives us an air rather of respectability and smartness. I think we'll take credit for that, even though it has nothing to do with that. All right, let's start with something everyone's talking about, but I want to get your perspective because I've spent a lot of the last week talking about tariffs and the impact on our markets. What does Christian Snyder think about all of this?
Well, this might be the one thing that actually causes some traction for people to start turning on Trump. When you look at a lot of Trump's scandals and other negative news stories in the past, a lot of people are willing to let them go because they don't really affect them personally. You look at a lot of the stuff like lying about overturning the election and kind of the court cases and kind of all, the scandal about the Signal leaking information in the Signal chat, that type of stuff. A lot of people, and his supporters especially, look at that stuff and say, oh, what does that got to do with me? I've gotten, no family members over fighting the Houthis or anything. And so they can let it go. But in this case, this actually has some real world consequences for what is going to happen to their pocketbook. And you have a lot of his supporters who are out there who, if the market stays as it is, and I know it's up a little bit today, but if it keeps going down, they're going to lose their jobs, and it's really going to start to affect them.
New polling suggests that most Americans, I think it was 53%, supports this tariff war. What do you think? And if you look at the Republicans, it's like 80%. What do you make of that?
I think I make of it that people don't really know what tariffs are.
Right.
And what they're going to do. I saw a video of a guy yesterday saying, well, because when there's a tariff, it's the American people that actually pay it because the foreign company just raises the prices to reflect the tariff. And, it's an older guy, and he says, well, so if American people are going to pay the tariff, why are the foreign countries out there complaining about it? And it's just like, you don't get it. It's going to raise the price. The foreign country is not going to sell as many. It's going to be bad for America and Americans. We spent how many years complaining about Joe Biden and inflation and costs going up, and then now all of a sudden, Trump does something to raise prices, and it's like, well, you don't need to really worry about your 401k. You don't really need as much money. Suddenly it's, war is peace, everything's opposite, and now, poverty is wealth, that type of thing. And that's where we are now.
Yeah, I think that's just rationalizing their decision to vote for Donald Trump. But last thing on this, because I want to move on to some fun stuff. A texter sent me this the other day, and I'm going to sort of paraphrase it because I don't have it in front of me, but the question was basically this: why does Trump win all of these arguments? Whether it's all the stuff that happened to him in the legal system over the last few years, the fact that he won second time a chance to be president of the United States. Why does Trump always win? What would your response to that be?
He just never relents. He never admits a failure. He never admits he's wrong. I remember all the way back when he ran in 2016 when he said, I always oppose the war in Iraq. And they literally had, audio clips of him saying he supported the war in Iraq. He supported the troops and all that kind of stuff. And he just, with the evidence right in front of him, he just kept going and kept going. And it's just a testament to where if you just say something enough, it just becomes a reality. And that's where we are.
Yeah, that's sort of what he does. All right, after the break, Christian's going to answer this question. Are politicians swearing too much? I've got a thought, and I'm curious to see what Christian wrote and said about this. That's coming up next on the Political Power Hours this week on WTMJ.
A whole day dedicated to us?
No, dedicated to you, the WTMJ fan.
Come celebrate WTMJ with us, your favorite WTMJ host, at a private tailgate at the Brewers game Saturday, May 17th.
Enjoy food, drinks, and hanging out with us. Plus tickets to the Brewers game as they take on the Twins at AmFam Field.
Get more information and secure your tickets at WTMJday.com.
Tickets will go fast, so sign up today.
We'll see you at the ballpark for WTMJ Day, Saturday, May 17th.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Advent. I love talking about Advent because it changed my life. And people ask me about Advent all the time when I'm away from the show. And I always tell them, I'm not kidding. It changed my life, and it will do the same thing for you if you listen to what they say. For me, I had restless nights of sleep. I had tossing and turning, snoring. My poor wife, Kathy, had to deal with all of this. So I went to Advent. This is way before I ever was a spokesperson. And I asked my questions. They put me at ease. Their docs are amazing. Their facilities are awesome. They look spectacular. And I had a 30-minute visit, and they sorted it out for me. Now, for me, and everybody's different problems, different solutions, mine was sinuses and nasal passage in my breathing triangle. Short procedure. Now I'm sleeping through the whole night, not snoring. That's worth the price of admission. If you struggle like I used to, take the time to see how Advent can help you. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to adventknows.com and schedule an appointment today, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn. Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Jeff Zergabel of Pasternak and Zergabel. Frank Pasternak and I are injury lawyers living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
Author, columnist Christian Snyder joins us every couple weeks, and he's on the show today. All right, Christian, are politicians swearing too much?
Yes.
The answer is yes?
Yes. Obviously, politicians have sworn forever behind the scenes, and because they're real people. But now you're seeing them do it in public a lot more. Pete Buttigieg, after the signal leak controversy, and I will tread lightly here because I don't want to slip.
We're broadcasting.
But yes, use the F-bomb in describing that, as did Tammy Duckworth, senator from Illinois. John Fetterman does it all the time. And it's just like tough guy theater. It's basically showing people how tough you are. And, in the past, if you did something like this, you would get lambasted for it. But now it draws attention, and attention is what everybody wants in today's politics. And so here we are. It's what everybody does now. And
so what do you think the pivot point is, or has this been a slow creep?
It feels like the 2020 election was really kind of a pivot point. Beto O'Rourke, remember him running for president?
Yeah.
He swore a lot. And I think he was kind of the test case, but now you get it everywhere, and it's just a complete misunderstanding, I think, of what people want. So Democrats have lost kind of the blue-collar workers around America, and they think that this is the way to talk like a factory worker or talk like a policeman or whatever, and that's not what people want. They don't. We like our politicians to actually kind of be better than us in a way, but
well, we used to.
Yeah, that is true. But, so people want sanity. They want, well, maybe they don't, but they want people to actually seem like they're in control of both the economy and laws and of their own faculties. And now you just get all of this. And it just denigrates everything. It makes everything worse. And people should stop doing it.
So, I'm thinking about this because you threw this idea at me this morning. We were kind of doing a pre-show text exchange, or message exchange. I would argue that there's been a coarsening of our culture and the words that people use for a while. I mean, we're both old enough to remember George Carlin's 7 words, which there's a couple I can actually use on the radio now, and some I absolutely cannot use, according to the FCC. But I think when you look at this issue, I mean, it's not like it's just politicians. It's just like the world we live in now. And if you go to Europe, it's much more liberal. And I watch the BBC a lot. They use words that we don't use here in our broadcasting networks and channels. So, I mean, it's not unique to politicians.
No, that's true. I mean, look at a lot of where we get our entertainment from these days, and it's no longer from like the 3 network television where everything has to be filtered through that. Although there's a big swear on SNL this week that caused a rift.
Tell people about that one.
Yeah, so Ego Nwodum, who's doing a comedy bit on the Weekend Update, does a little call and response with the crowd and asks them to respond like men these days aren't, and then it was the crowd that actually said the word, but it went out pretty audibly everywhere. But yeah, so we don't have that filter anymore where people aren't getting their news from newspapers, which are heavily edited, or the networks that are heavily edited, or Steve Scaffidi's radio show that's heavily edited. Everything's on HBO and the internet where people can just say whatever they want, and so it's just natural now.
Could we go back, though? Could we go back to where people have a little more, for lack of a better term, manners when it comes to how they speak to each other?
I don't think so.
I don't think so
we're
either.
Going back. Yeah, it's people get to say what they want, and the more outrageous they are, the more attention they get, and that's basically just where we are now.
You know what? We'll really know when what hits the fan is when the U.S. president goes on a national address on all the networks at night and drops an F-bomb. Then we know we've crossed, we've gone too far.
Well, Trump says BS a lot. The real word.
He does.
Yeah.
All right. Christian Snyder is going to hang around for one more second because we're going to talk about the White Lotus, a great show that just wrapped up its 3rd season, the finale episode. And him and I were going back and forth on one of our social media platforms. I forgot which one. Maybe was it Twitter or was it Threads?
I think it was Threads.
Yes, Threads, which I would like to see continue in the fashion that I don't like Twitter, but we'll chat about that as well. Christian Snyder, our guest on this Tuesday edition right here on 620 WTMJ.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we profile the average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning that they'd be saving a life, becoming everyday heroes.
There, yeah, she flew off the road right at a bridge, so she went down an embankment. No one could see her vehicle
until a guy named Johnny Martinez happened to come by.
I said, "Ma'am, how long have you been here?" And she said, "I've been here since Wednesday night." And I said, no, it's today's Tuesday.
Everyday Hero, Thursdays at 6:40. Presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
Yesterday, here's WTMJ's Steve Scaffidi talking about Heiser, by the way. Eric Bilstead rode in the Chevy Silverado in the parking lot, and he said, wow, this is a nice ride. And I agree. 2023 Chevy Silverado from Heiser. You can check it out. You can actually buy it right out from underneath me at Heiser.com. All their vehicles, pre-owned and new, are available there. This one, a beautiful Glacier Blue Metallic. Everything you need, all the technology. 7-liter turbo engine, 4-cylinder, 8-speed automatic transmission, low mileage. Get this gas mileage, 24 city, 29 highway, and I've got it up to 32 on the highway on some of my trips. This thing is amazing, and I'm an F-150 guy, which Heiser, of course, also sells. I think it still is the most popular truck in America, but check it out. All their great programs, I've talked about them, Safe and Sound, Vehicle Exchange, Roadside Assistance for Life. Ask the questions. Be informed. Be an informed consumer. I can tell you this right now, Heiser Automotive, number one in customer service for a reason. They will satisfy whatever you need when it comes to vehicles or your service, body shop work. That's why they can say every day, today's your day.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Homebuyer Helper Brian Wickert. One of our senior loan consultants recently helped their first-time homebuyer client win over 13 other offers. Of course, it was a team effort with their buyer's agent, and it centered around helping our clients understand what little difference there was to their monthly payment to offer over the asking price. And again, what little difference it would make to give the sellers peace of mind that they'd still buy even if the appraisal came in up to $20,000 short. But that's not all. Our consultant also texted and called the listing agent to reinforce how well qualified our buyers were and that they could, in fact, still close even if the appraisal came in low. Your AccuNet consultant will help you understand your options so you can decide how aggressive you want to be. Then we do everything possible to help you win. Don't let someone else end up sleeping in your dream home. Know your options and get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Thinking about curb appeal? A few changes can make a huge difference in your yard. I got the difference maker for you. Landworks Wisconsin. They specialize in bringing your landscaping dreams to life. They did that in our yard. From refreshing your existing gardens to creating entirely new outdoor environments, they did both those things for us. Think gorgeous new plantings, inviting pathways, expertly designed spaces to relax and entertain. Don't wait. Call Landworks or visit landworkswisconsin.com. Let's make your yard the envy of the neighborhood.
Christian Snyder, I guess, for the first half hour of the 2 hours show this week. We're both fans of White Lotus. I'm assuming you're a fan because you've been talking about it, and I'm a big fan. I wrapped up the finale, season 3, on Sunday nights. What was your takeaways from that show? I'm fascinated by the way they look at all their different resorts across the world. I think it was Sicily last year, and this time Thailand. What were your thoughts about that show?
Yeah, at what point did people stop going to White Lotus branded hotels where people there's mass murder every time? Yeah, this season was a little slow for me.
It started slow, I'll admit that.
I mean, there's 3 whole episodes where it's just about, the dad taking, what's the drug? Lorazepam?
Yeah, lorazepam? Yeah. Yeah, which basically just numbs you down. And see, that's where I thought it sort of touched on some very common themes, and one of them, this one is, dishonest businessman who gets caught, but he gets caught while he's overseas. It's sort of the plot line there.
The last episode for me was strange because in order for the plot to go forward, pretty much everybody in the cast, and I'll try not to do any spoilers here because people get mad about spoilers. People are still angry if you tell them what Banquo and Donalbain did in Macbeth. But so in the very last episode, you had a lot of people that had to become completely different people and do totally different things than the first 7 episodes would have you believe that they do. And maybe that's by design, but it just feels like it was a plot contrivance they behaved in order to get the plot moving in a certain way rather than actually how they would behave.
So here's my take on that, because I read this stuff all the time. People, we're still angry about the end of Sopranos or the Game of Thrones. But that's what the creators and the artists decided would happen. And then for us to say as an audience, consumers of this stuff, well, I wish this would have happened. Well, that's not what happened. They're creators. They get to decide how these storylines go. Can they be better? Sure. And I guess that's my sort of my pet peeve about all this stuff. You don't get to craft a show that you're not a part of. So you just watch it and you either enjoy it or you don't enjoy it. That's my take.
Right. And you have people all over social media complaining.
Right.
And it's just like, guys, it's a TV show. Come on, man.
Right.
I realize the real news is depressing and we need something to hang on to. And it's pretty cool that you have so many people on a Sunday night watching something at the same time and commenting on it. That's something that we've lost. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But some people, I think, get a little bit too into it.
Did it make you want to go to Thailand?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Especially the snake scene.
I thought the monkeys, I don't like monkeys, and they're all over the place.
Yeah, I don't want to get bit by a snake or have a coconut thrown at me by a monkey.
Yeah,
Either one.
It is an interesting view of some people's lives. The fact that it's just whatever you want, whenever you want it, is sort of a cool way to spend a vacation, I guess.
We need to tear off the monkeys.
Tear off the monkeys. That's the line of the show so far, half hour in. Christian Snyder, author, columnist. And if you're a fan of SNL, we talked a little bit about it in early part of the half hour. Where can they find your great podcast on SNL, all the seasons?
It's called Wasn't That Special? So you can go to wasn'tthatspecial.com, all one word, or you can go on Twitter at 50 Years of SNL.
Always appreciate the conversation. Stay busy. Keep in touch. We'll do it again in a couple weeks.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. Christian Snyder joining audio and video apparently on today's interview. So that's cool. That's part of what is happening with this show and whatever happens next. We're going to talk and see a lot of our guest as we sort of do our shows. And I think that's sort of a nod to technology, which allows us to do amazing things. And we're thinking about this, and producer Jazz does all the heavy lifting on this. This is sort of the next phase of all of this stuff. What the cool things we can do. We're tapping into podcasts, and I'm going to talk about my podcast later in the next hour. But lots of fun and lots of cool stuff happening on this show and on the station, which is still, as I like to say, the biggest stick in the state. So we have local news with the one, the only Adam Roberts. He's all over our dial now. He's all over the place. He's in afternoons and middays and mornings, of course. The local news with Adam, before we get to any of that, also important. The latest from ABC.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Sherry Preston. The market's rallying, but things are still volatile after yesterday's ups and downs. ABC's Whit Johnson at the New York Stock Exchange has more on the latest threat from the White House.
President Trump is threatening an additional 50% tariff on China if China does not withdraw its retaliatory tariff of 34% on the U.S. So that would effectively bring total tariffs on China to more than 100%. China is now firing back, calling this blackmail and promising to fight until the end.
Those tariffs are set to kick in tonight. The administration says close to 70 countries have reached out asking to negotiate their tariffs. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent this morning.
We have one of the Vietnamese officials coming in this week. The Japanese are very eager to get it over, and I think you're going to see a couple of big trading partners do deals very quickly.
The Dow up more than 1,300 points. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 9:31. I'm Adam Roberts. Homicide numbers in Milwaukee are up slightly in the first quarter of 2025 compared to 1 year ago. The city today reporting 25 official homicides so far this year. That's up from 23 in the same period of 2024. Reports of human trafficking also up 50% from 9 cases reported in the city so far in 2025. The city will address their new crime data later this morning. Harley-Davidson CEO Jochen Zeitz informing the company of his plans to retire. Harley launching a search now for his successor. Zeitz leading the company through a series of changes, including closing the historic Milwaukee headquarters and focusing on the company's most profitable motorcycle models. Zeitz will remain in his CEO position until the company identifies a successor. And if you see flames coming from Lakeshore State Park in downtown Milwaukee today, fear not. It's all part of a prescribed burn led by the Department of Natural Resources. The burn's set to begin around 10 this morning, expected to last for about 5 hours, depending on the weather. The park will be closed for the duration of the burn. Time now for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. A hot start continuing for the big three today. The Dow up over 1,300 points, up 3.6% at 39,336. The Nasdaq up 636 points. That's over 4% at 16,239. And the S&P 500 up 187 points at 5,250. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Going over the roads, your WTMJ time saver traffic still a little bit slow on 894 west from the Mitchell all the way through to about Loomis. The good news is that earlier crash that was causing all of these delays looks like it has been taken care of. So the backups will be around for a little bit longer, but they should be wrapped up here momentarily. Also, a couple of incidents on 794. The good news is one of them that was involving some lane debris near Layton. That looks like that's been taken care of, and so it's free and clear driving through there this morning. And your WTMJ forecast, sunny, continued cold today, a high of 40. Clouds increasing tonight, low down to 31. A rain-snow mix with some slight accumulation, though it will melt on Wednesday with a high of 41. 42 Thursday, mostly cloudy. Sun returns Friday, 46. 52 and sun on Saturday. Right now in Toma, it's sunny and 29. Greenfield, sunny skies and 31. And in Milwaukee, it's sunny and 29. I'm Adam Roberts, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Times 934.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Excel Custom Decks. I'm the football guy, definitely not the outdoor home projects guy. So when it comes to things like deck building, Excel Custom Decks is the true go-to expert. Family owned and operated, Excel Custom Decks uses the finest materials and products and combines that with superior craftsmanship. If you want your outdoor area to shine this summer, contact Excel Custom Decks now. Whatever you dream up for that perfect deck, pergola, or outdoor kitchen, Rob and his family can build it. Excel Custom Decks, decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com today.
Have you tried hands-free Skechers slip-ins yet? Because if you haven't, you're missing out on technology that changes how you think about shoes. First, these are not just regular slip-on shoes. They're not just a pair of loafers without laces. But what makes them different is the technology inside that lets you just step into them. There's a built-in hidden shoehorn that slides your foot in, so they look, feel, and wear just like a pair of shoes you're used to. Except you don't have to bend down, struggle to put them on, or touch them. Try them at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More, the place to go for sipping rosés with seltzers on ice, making margaritas with your favorite tequilas. It's warm out, let's go. Our prices are low on spirits, beer, and wine. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here for Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin, the best in the area. They're going to take care of you big time. You want to play pickleball. You want to golf. You want to play with your grandkids in the front yard and do it with no pain. Go to the place that has the highest patient satisfaction ratings and the top doctors in the area. It's Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin. I've met the docs. I've walked through the hospital. It's absolutely incredible. They're going to take great care of you from beginning to end. Go to OHOW.com, hit the request an appointment button. OHOW.com, request an appointment.
I'm not a fan of monkeys. I don't like snakes, and a lot of people don't like them, but monkeys. I was freaked out. How many people, raise your hand out there in radio, stream, whatever land, YouTube land, that scene in Wizard of Oz with the flying monkeys still freaks me out. Have they incorporated that, by the way? I'm not a fan of Wicked or whatever that. Are the monkeys in that too?
They are terrifying in Wicked.
So they're even worse.
Well, they weren't always flying, let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's creepy to me. Anyway, now I'm off my topic. All right, so this is my home run trot. Because if you remember back in, when was this? 2021 it would have been, right? 2021. Justice Gableman, Michael Gableman. Remember when he was hired by still Speaker Robin Vos to sort of investigate the 2020 election? I think the ultimate result was nothing. He's hired in 2021. Of course, Justice Gableman served a 10-year term in the state's high court, starting in 2008. So he had the street cred at the time. But I can remember back in that time, which is now 4 years ago, people gave me so much, the emails and the texts. What are you talking about? He's going to get into the... And the whole thing was a travesty and a sham. And I said, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the not too distant future that Justice Gableman would be the one who takes the hit on this. So producer Jazz has found a little bit of audio, but also have what I love to end this segment with, a little bit of that Benny Hill. Remember? Oh, that was his soundtrack of his life for a while. All right, here's a little bit of Justice Gableman, just so you remember what this was all about.
I want a personal counsel if you are putting jail on the table. I want an attorney to represent me personally. I will not answer any more questions. I see you have a jail officer here. You want to put me in jail, Judge Remington? I'm not going to be railroaded.
A little bit of Chief Justice Michael Gableman. So his review of all this, which costs, again, millions of dollars, taxpayer dollars, our money, by the way, never found any evidence of significant fraud or any new facts, really. The 2020 election, this is the hard line for people. They have to understand this is what actually happened. The election in 2020 was run differently because we had a COVID pandemic, people. Now, if your fundamental belief is that COVID's fake, which it's not, or doesn't kill people, which it did, then it's easy for you to say, well, there was no reason why they changed the election rules or laws. Yeah, there was. We had to make it easy for people to vote in the midst of a pandemic. And people turned to absentee voting to get it done. Ballots were mailed to nursing homes instead of being delivered by poll workers. So all of this stuff points to a real problem that we have in governments. This idea that because someone has a crazy belief, we have to investigate it and spend all kinds of money trying to figure out what happened when most of us realize nothing happened. It's a close election. By the way, unless you're a liberal candidate for the Wisconsin Supreme Court, most elections are close. Kind of how we do it here in Wisconsin. So this is sort of my home run trot on Michael Gableman, because now he's going to lose his law license for 3 years. It should have been lifetime. And I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of why it's not lifetime. It should be. These are some of the things that Gableman, in the complaint, was charged with. Filed petitions with false statements. Made false statements to and withheld information from a state assembly committee. Engaged in disruptive behavior. Made false statements about the integrity of a judge. Made false, derogatory, and demeaning public statements about opposing counsel. Violated the state's open records law. And submitted a false affidavit. Pretty serious conduct for an attorney and a justice, former. So I'll take the home run trot, because I was right then, and I'm sure as hell right now. Clown show. I said it then. And I stand by that today. Complete waste of taxpayer dollars, which we do, frankly, too much of in this state and in this country. But I was right on Gableman. And shame on anybody involved in that mess, because if you participated in it, shame on you as well.
I will not answer any more questions. I see you have a jail officer here. You want to put me in jail, Judge Remington? I'm not going to be railroaded.
Find it, buy it, ride it. Find it, buy it, ride it.
Find a bike, buy a bike, ride a bike at the nation's largest bike sale. I'm Amelia Kegel with Wheel and Sprocket, and our Bike Expo sale is back at the Wisconsin State Fairgrounds this weekend inside the Expo building. Electric bikes, road bikes, cargo bikes, mountain bikes, kid bikes, hybrid bikes, all on display and ready to ride. So whether you're seeking health and wellness, adventure and fun, or just a new hobby, the path to your new journey leads to the Bike Expo sale. And remember, all of our bikes come with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee, which means you can ride it for 30 days. And if you don't love it, we'll refund your money.
Find it, buy it, ride it. Find it, buy it, ride it.
Find a bike, buy a bike, ride a bike. Friday noon to 8, Saturday 10 to 8, and Sunday 11 to 5 inside the Expo Center. Visit bikeexposale.com for details. Admission is free.
Life is short. We'll see you at the Bike Expo.
Tell us a little bit about innovative signs.
We're located out in Waukesha. Where we are really focused mostly is manufacturing outdoor electrical signs.
You came to Horicon Bank. How do you think other local businesses can benefit?
When I call, Michelle picks up the phone, and when I email, she responds in a timely manner. A few years ago, I talked to my accountant about shopping around looking for a different bank just to get some alternatives, and he said, absolutely not. You're not going to like working for a big bank. They have a lot more regulations. So that's how we got involved with Cornerstone Bank. When Horicon purchased Cornerstone, we came along for the ride, and it's been great.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. I noticed I was missing out on things. I just wasn't hearing great. I knew I had to get it checked out. I had to get it fixed, and I found the right company. It's a company with a lot of compassion, the best technology. It's Vita Hearing Care. Hearing well isn't just about detecting sounds. It's embracing life's meaningful moments with confidence and joy. Vita is a local family-owned company, 2 locations in Mount Pleasant and Waterford. Visit VitaHearingCare.com to learn more. VitaHearingCare.com. They'll take care of you like they've taken care of me. It's Vita.
Siding Unlimited, named the best window installers, not just here, but in the whole USA. Get the best. Siding Unlimited, 5-time winner as America's best window installer. For windows, you call Siding Unlimited first and directly. SidingUnlimited.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
If a man calls another man crazy, it's a compliment. This is my buddy Joey's crazy. Joey's like, you're just being nice.
Jim Gaffigan, everything is wonderful.
Because if my wife was standing here and I was like, this is my wife, she's crazy, I'd be dead. And all of you would applaud. You'd be like, well, that was a teachable moment.
Jim Gaffigan, 6 shows at the Riverside Theater. Only tickets for this Sunday, April 13. Tickets on sale now at patstheatergroup.com.
Thanks for listening on this expanded edition of the Political Power Hours. Tuesday. Producer Jazz doing her great thing as always. I had a lot of demands today, so I appreciate you working on all that stuff. Didn't want to make your morning too busy, but we had stuff to do. We have great guests. We have Jeremy Janine from Urban Milwaukee joining us at 10:08ish, and then we have Kristen Breyer will join me for the last half hour of the program. Always fun sit in with her, and I think I'm doing her show, some of her show tomorrow, which will be the Wednesday edition of the Spanning the State show. I'll be sitting in there. Probably about 1:30 to 3, something like that. Still to be negotiated, and we have a meeting after the show today to figure all that out. Anyway, a little behind the scenes here at WTMJ. I saw this story. Actually, Kristen shared this story with me, and I'm still trying to find out if it's true or not. And like a lot of things, you got to often give a pause, but I don't feel like giving a pause because we've talked almost ad nauseum about tariffs and what I have now effectively called the Trump tax. And the impact of the president's decision to sort of go after this issue just wholeheartedly in the second version of the Trump presidency. And like I argued on, I think it was Monday's show, I don't know that the president has the economic background to be able to even understand tariffs and what they actually do and what the impact is on consumers. But, that being said, I said this yesterday, although people often gloss over when I say something nice about the president. There is a legitimate question about the unfairness of how other countries treat us when it comes to tariffs. And I think that's a legitimate issue. But, again, as I said yesterday, the problem is this president, he wants it both ways. He wants to, carry the big stick and whack everybody and charge tariffs to all the countries in the world and cause economic chaos and uncertainty. And hello, the 30,000s for the Dow instead of the 45,000 range we were at. Although, again, there's some rebounding today, which is always usually what happens. I think it's up, the Dow's up about 1,300 points or so. Don't quote me on that because it shifts every moment. He wants to carry the big stick, but at the same time he wants to negotiate. But when you beat someone over the head, they're not really necessarily going to be in the best interest of their countries to negotiate. So this sort of machoistic, I'm the bad guy thing that, let's be honest, a lot of people love in this country. It's sort of the rise of bullying when it comes to politics. That's been talk radio's forte for the last 3 decades. Just, I'm tougher than you. I'm smarter than you. I'll beat you up if you don't agree with me. And that's sort of the mantra of that stuff. And let's be honest, there's an audience for it. People like that stuff. But an interesting story about the sort of, it used to be just women. I'm not sure if it's just that now. Fabletics is the company. Global lifestyle brand. They have men and women's sportswear. I'm just reading the thing now that someone just sent me. They have shoes, a lot of accessory stuff. Well, supposedly they're now charging on purchases. And again, some of this is gray, so there could be a fudge factor on some of this stuff. A charge when you buy something, and they call it the tariff tax. And one of my teammates shared that with me. I think it was Kristen. And I'm just curious if this will be something that becomes more popular if we see a sustained impact on consumers. Now, it's not unprecedented. We've certainly seen that with the impact of the COVID pandemic on restaurants, even to some extent retail. Well, they added this surcharge for cleaning they had to do or the impact on their business. They pass it off to the customers, which is basically what always happens. It's a rare company nowadays who will absorb those extra costs. And that I've talked about this before on the show, not recently, but the way that the dynamics of business has changed. Used to be customers always right, customer first. Now it's shareholders first, then customers. And employees sort of bring up the rear on that new equation. So I'll be interested to see if the Trump tariff tax becomes a thing, whether it's Fabletics or other companies. And again, still some gray on this because I'm seeing a lot of conflicting reports. But when you have a president who's so insistent that this is where he's going to draw the line, and I would argue that even if we're seeing a rebound today, his new deadline for China, which, excessive tariffs thrown back at them, could cause even more uncertainty in the markets. And I will say that someone who consumes the communications from the White House, because I get them all from the White House press secretary, communications office, I see them every day. They come into my smartphone, holding up my smartphone for all you watching on the stream. I see that every day. I see all their communications. And how they approach this is, well, the president's doing the right thing for the country. The president is making sure that tariffs are equal and fair for the United States. We've been bullied for years, and now we're going to get our due justice. That's the issue. But again, a president who maybe doesn't understand tariffs, doesn't understand that most economists worth their salt don't believe tariffs are anything more than a tax on consumers. Maybe not the right person to be making this call. And I said this on social media, my message to Congress is, you need to take this power back. You actually have the power, but you need to make it real clear to any current president or future president, you can't be doing this stuff because you will literally ruin people's lives and their financial futures with a petty blame game conducted globally. Not good practice for U.S. presidents. And I understand there's all the talking heads now that are pro-Trump going on TV and saying he's going to win this argument. Perhaps. But at the same time, losing 10%, 20% of your savings for your retirement, those at or near retirement, it takes a long time to recoup those things. And a lot of people don't have that time. That's not why there's risk there. So whether Fabletics is a sort of an outlier on this tariff tax or Trump tax, as I think will become a popular term if this continues, this war against other countries and what they do in the issue of trade, we're going to find out. But an early outlier may signal the future. And if you remember the pandemic and the impact on restaurants and retail, that may be echoed in this new development. All right, we'll wrap up the 9 o'clock hour. Head to the 10 right here on 620 WTMJ.
We love being a trusted friend in the community for those who need an attorney but don't know where to turn. Our clients aren't the kind of people who typically bring lawsuits. Our clients have been hurt in a crash or accident and need our help and advice. I'm Frank Pasternak of Pasternak and Zergabel. Jeff Zergabel and I are injury attorneys living, working, and giving back in our community. When you need help from exceptional personal injury lawyers, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com.
Hey, John Mercure here for Guthrie and Fry Water Conditioning. My reverse osmosis system in my house is fantastic. The water I drink, the water we feed the dogs, the water we cook with is crisp, clean, and clear thanks to Guthrie and Fry's RO system. It's technology that's been around for a long time, but it's the best in the business, and Guthrie and Fry will get it to you. It's affordable, it's effective, and you'll feel a lot better. It's all about the science. Southeast Wisconsin's #1 choice, and my choice is Guthrie and Fry Water Conditioning.
Better water makes a big difference. Guthrie and Fry.
April Brewers action rounds out with the matchup against the Tigers and Athletics. Catch the series opener April 14th as the first 10,000 fans get a Brewers t-shirt designed by Unfinished Legacy. Then get Brewers collectibles at back-to-back games against the Athletics. First up, Peanuts Night on April 18th, featuring a Franklin bobble with special tickets. And don't miss a Brewers football jersey for the first 25,000 fans April 19th. Get set for an action-packed April at Brewers.com.
Historic Fox & Hound Supper Club gift cards make perfect year-round birthday, anniversary, and thank you gifts. With the buy one dinner, get one free offer, it's like getting a free gift card. Order online at foxandhoundsrestaurant.com and enjoy your free dinner.
You only get one chance to make a first impression, and that goes double for your home listing, because that's how you're going to get the most value. By having a customized marketing plan specific to your property with professional photos, global marketing, and the built-in experience that Century 21 Benefit Realty has brought to the table since 2004. And being joined with Century 21 just makes all of the above stand out that much more. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
So how is that possible? 1.9% real estate commission? There must be something you're not telling me.
I hear that a lot. The truth is, everybody could do it, but they choose not to because folks keep paying more than they have to. I guess they just haven't heard yet that Century 21 Benefit Realty can make that 1.9% real estate commission promise on the sale of your home and stick to it. So I'd like to think that's going to make your decision easy. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
We didn't write the headline, the Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Economic uncertainty and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. Standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil. But retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized plans that adapt as needed. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
During the break, I was doing some digging because, as I said at the start of the show, there's a lot of duck talk on the text line, the Exciting Unlimited WTMJ Talk and text line. And I've done some research, and ducks don't mate for life. I think geese do, but ducks don't. They form seasonal bonds, which in my world would be just like having a girlfriend every year, a different girlfriend. So ducks do not make mates for life. So I don't really know what the context of that was this morning with the morning guys here at WTMJ, the morning zoo, as I like to call it, when I want to have fun with Vince and Eric, who do great work every day in the mornings on WTMJ. Real quick, we were talking about the Trump tax and tariffs. Here's a real-life impact, just for those folks who perhaps work in these areas that are impacted. Travel from Canada down 13%. 3 million Canadians typically visit Florida every year. That number will be significantly lower. Those are real-life impacts. And if you don't think Canada takes this stuff seriously, talk to a Canadian. I did, Todd Hirsch, economist from Canada. He basically laid it out. They're not happy about it. The other word is they're pissed about it. That's the reality. So when you talk about this stuff from a logical perspective, common sense, when you belittle someone, you make fun of them, you pretend that we're going to make them our 51st state, they're going to hold a grudge for a bit. And whatever you think about tariffs and whether Trump wins this tariff war or not, we've pissed off our allies in this world. Some that we've had relationship for 100 years. How is that a good thing? Second hour, just as exciting as the first hour. Coming up next on 620 WTMJ.
Hi, I'm Tony Drake from Drake & Associates. If you're in or near retirement, you're facing one of the biggest financial decisions of your life. When to take Social Security. Should you claim it now or wait for a bigger benefit? The wrong decision could cost you tens of thousands of dollars in lost income. And once you lock in your choice, there's no do-over. The truth is, Social Security is more complicated than most people think. The age you file, your marital status, other income sources, all of it impacts how much you'll receive. And in today's economy, with rising costs and uncertainty about future benefits, you need to make every dollar count. At Drake & Associates, we help hardworking Americans make smart decisions about retirement. Income is just one stop on your retirement-ready roadmap, and we'll help you navigate every turn so you can maximize your benefits and keep more of what you earned. Don't make this decision blindly. Get the facts and a plan today. Text SS to 414-897-9522 to claim your free retirement toolkit and a copy of my book, Get Retirement Ready. Inside, you'll learn strategies to help optimize your Social Security, reduce taxes, and create a retirement income plan that works for you. But don't wait. These resources are only available while supplies last. Secure your future today. Text SS to 414-897-9522. Drake & Associates, helping you retire with confidence.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
Pain can make you feel like no matter what you try, it's not going to work. Or it can make you try any and everything. And most times that'll make you feel like you've been taken for a ride. It's hard to believe that there's a solution to your pain problem that works, is safe, and is actually affordable. But that's why most insurance plans pay for pain treatments from Rejuvenex, because they're FDA approved and they do work. Toradol and hyaluronic acid work together to substantially alleviate your pain. And we've seen patients experience pain relief for greater than 2 years after completing a series of treatments. Is it a one and done? No. But at as low as $65 per joint, it's an affordable alternative to surgery. And it's not an expensive cross your fingers and hope it works experiment. Especially for older pain sufferers, the pain treatment that Rejuvenex offers is worth trying, because the vast majority of patients who do live better lives in a lot less pain. Go to Rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
The crew are out in Colorado to hit that Rocky Mountain high.
1-2 pitch, high fly ball, left field, inside the pole, gone, Jackson Churio.
Our Brewers Rockies coverage starts tonight at 7:05 on your home for the Milwaukee Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
At 10 o'clock, sunshine and cold today with a high of 40 degrees, increasing clouds and a low down to 31. Right now at 29. And from the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Vince Vitrano. Should fire up any time now if it hasn't already. You may see fire on the lakefront right near the Summerfest grounds. Department of Natural Resources planning to burn the natural areas on Lakeshore State Park, the kidney-shaped island just offshore. It is a prescribed burn set to go until mid-afternoon, provided the weather continues to cooperate. Harley-Davidson CEO Jochen Zeitz plans to retire this year. Zeitz saying he will remain in the position until the company's board identifies his successor to, quote, ensure an orderly leadership transmission. Zeitz, appointed in May of 2020, led the company through a series of changes, including the closing of the historic Milwaukee headquarters and focusing on the company's more profitable models at the expense of entry-level bikes. Harley-Davidson reported a net loss of $117 million in the fourth quarter of 2024. Major gains off the opening bell on Wall Street this morning, even as the latest round of Trump tariffs are set to kick in overnight. The president standing firm on that promise. ABC's Mary Bruce at the White House.
I asked the president, would you be open to a pause in tariffs to allow for negotiations?
Well, we're not looking at that. We have many countries that are coming to negotiate deals with us, and they're going to be fair deals. And in certain cases, they're going to be paying substantial tariffs. There'll be fair deals.
The White House says almost 70 countries have come calling.
So why are the markets going up? Administration says negotiations with other nations are taking place. Most significantly, good news with Japan. That sent the Nikkei up more than 6% overnight.
The Japanese Prime Minister talked with Trump on the phone and agreed to start negotiations and putting the Treasury Secretary in charge of talks for the United States. President Trump, as we know, has imposed a 25% tariff on foreign cars.
That's ABC's Britt Clinette. She's in Hong Kong, where the situation with China far different. The Chinese threatening to retaliate against the retaliatory tariffs. Mary Bruce again from ABC on how much that may affect all of the things we buy.
Your iPhone could go up by thousands of dollars, and they're already pretty expensive, right? There are lots of other things that would be affected. Fresh produce, goods that are on the shelves even longer, packaged goods, alcohol, footwear, apparel, appliances, clothing, cars. I mean, you name it.
Locally, Annex Wealth Management CEO Dave Spano telling Wisconsin's Afternoon News, too soon to tell what will happen with the markets long term.
The Fed could start lowering interest rates. The Fed Fund Futures is suggesting as many as 5 rate cuts in 2025. That could calm things down. The Congress could come in with a tax bill that shows tax cuts. That could calm things down.
Let's take a look at those numbers. News about your money. WTMJ Annex Wealth Management market update at the moment. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up nearly 1,200 points. That's over 3% to 39,140. S&P 500 is at 5223. That is up about 161 points. The NASDAQ up nearly 600 points at 16,173. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time, 10:04. WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Shopco Optical. Get eyewear for everything you do at Shopco Optical. Schedule your annual comprehensive eye exam, check out new frame styles, and order your annual supply of contact lenses all in one place. Enjoy the time and attention your eyes deserve at Shopko Optical. Receive quality eye care and a personalized vision solution tailored to your specific vision and lifestyle needs. Call Shopko Optical or visit shopko.com to schedule an appointment at a location nearest you.
Brew City is ready to celebrate the draft's return to Wisconsin. Milwaukee Tailgate Week, presented by Potawatomi Sportsbook, April 24th through the 26th. It features a variety of gridiron activations for all ages, steeped in Milwaukee's iconic sports history, its attractions, brews, pubs, restaurants, and venues. The festivities culminate on Saturday, April 26th with Jordy Nelson's Milwaukee Tailgate with Inside the Huddle Live. Buy your tickets now for only $10 and learn more at visitmilwaukee.org/tailgate.
True Chicago-style pizza is thin, crispy, and cut into squares. And thanks to Connie's Frozen Pizza, you can enjoy a true slice of the city. You'll enjoy it so much you won't even mind where it comes from. Connie's Frozen Pizzas are made from the same cornmeal crust Connie's has been serving for over 60 years. They're perfectly cheesy, perfectly saucy, and they're exactly what you crave. Get to know the true Chicago style with Connie's Frozen Pizza. Born in Chicago, loved by cheeseheads. Available in a freezer aisle near you.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update for the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. Brewers and Rockies in Colorado tonight. Freddie Peralta gets the start. He's the Brewers' only starting pitcher who's not on the injured list. Manager Pat Murphy on Wisconsin's Morning News.
It's been difficult, almost unbelievable. We have one true starter available, and the rest are guys that we're planning on being in AAA, and we're proud of our guys hanging in there.
Our coverage of the Brewers and Rockies starts at 7:05. First pitch about 7:35 right here on WTMJ. Bucks with 4 games left on the regular season. Bobby Portis eligible to return tonight following that 25-game suspension for taking a banned drug. Giannis Antetokounmpo, your NBA Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Third time he's been honored with that award this season. Tonight's tip, 7 o'clock against the Timberwolves. Take a look at the roads, your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. I got nothing going, even through multiple construction zones. Your drive looking good this morning. 4145 southbound, Highway Q to the Zoo, running about 15 minutes. 43 southbound from Brown Deer Road into the Marquette, about 14. And northbound from Layton to the Marquette, running at 7 minutes. Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunshine, but cold temperatures today. High of just 40 degrees. Increasing clouds overnight and a low down to 31. Chance for rain and snow showers on Wednesday. Otherwise cloudy, high 41. Thursday's high 42 with rain and snow early. Mostly sunny on Friday, high 46. Saturday, mostly sunny and a high of 52 degrees. 29 in Madison, Green Bay, and Waukesha. Milwaukee also at 29 degrees. I'm Vince Vitrano, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:07.
There's only so much we can fit in 1 hour, but we are just getting started. So pour another cup of coffee. It's the Political Power After Hour. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
What are they calling it now? The after hours? Political power after hours? I love that. You know, why not? Makes it sound like it's late night, though. Let's pretend it's late night. Jeremy Janine joining me in studio in a special new time.
Top of the hour.
Top of the hour for top of the morning. Jeremy Janine from urbanmilwaukee.com. So many things to talk about, and you and I have done this for a while now. We'll look back and then we'll sort of look forward. But the looking back is the role, the performance of the Milwaukee Election Commission, counting the ballots. Now, we had the shortage issue, which I think a lot of people were, either they use that as an excuse to bash Milwaukee, which they like to do, or they say, come on, what's going on here? So when you look back at this from a journalist perspective, what do you make of the performance of the Milwaukee Election Commission on what they actually got accomplished on Tuesday night?
The results came in earlier than expected.
Yes.
So that's a win. There was no questions on integrity. That's a win. Bad snafu on 7 polling places out of 180 running low or out of ballots.
So this is not unique to them. It's happened before. It's happened in other even bigger elections, presidential elections. It happens. The turnout surprises people. Now, someone who used to run a city and knew this issue, I don't know that we ever ran out, but because my city clerk, Catherine Risky, was always very well prepared for almost any race that we had and had to conduct in the city. There's a cost to municipality. You have to print the ballots in the paper costs and all that stuff. And then it's sort of a guessing game. But I always told my clerk and other people who would listen that, being over-prepared and anticipation of what might happen is probably a good thing because it saves you embarrassment. Will the Milwaukee Election Commission suffer any embarrassment from the fact that they ran out momentarily?
Well, they suffered embarrassment that night and an otherwise clean night for them. But there is a chance it continues to rear its head because a number of council members have called for a presentation from Paulina Gutierrez, the executive director, on what happened as you got to the cost of the ballots. Yes, there is a cost to print every additional ballot. I'm going to be interested to know, like, what is going forward? Let's just print 10% more than whatever we think every single time. What is that actual cost? There's 150,000 or so people that voted. What? Another 15,000 pieces of paper. What's that cost?
Yeah, and it's different. I can tell it's different all over the place. And, for those people who love paper ballots, this is certainly something you have to think about. And, the rise, decades old now, of electronic voting, I think is something that a lot of states are looking at. And the cool thing about, maybe not cool, is that across the country, states, municipalities, they all do it differently. I forgot the state off the top of my head, but one of the states does all mail-in voting. It's like
Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon. It's like, I don't know, it seems to have worked for them. And I guess if we're afraid of technology, we're going to continue to have these kinds of questions when you have a paper ballot printed.
One of the interesting things that happened last Tuesday was technology actually was one of the things that saved the day. Rather than wait for all those paper ballots to be delivered, the city was able to deploy what's called its express vote machines, which is a machine, if you early vote in the city of Milwaukee, you're going to be familiar with. It prints a paper ballot, but first you cast your ballot essentially digitally on a computer, and then it prints it out.
Yeah.
They're the accessibility devices for people that need issues or that have mobility issues, but they're also great for early voting because then you can go to any polling place, and if your ballot is different across the city of Milwaukee, often it is, this can just print off whatever the appropriate ballot is for you.
So for Gutierrez, having conducted, I believe, the November election and now this spring election, there were some concerns earlier that maybe she wasn't qualified enough. I think she's sort of demonstrated that. We've had some slight snafus that we've talked about, but for the most part, the votes are being counted and things are moving along.
Yeah, the big concern was experience over qualifications, and she has certainly now gained experience. The issue that happened in November wasn't directly her issue. It was a deputy who's no longer with the department, although I don't know the why the person is no longer with the department. They're from Madison. But this is a minor blip, but if it's a pattern that continues, it's going to draw concern. But my guess is it's something we'll forget about in a couple of years.
And I'm going to make a speech here because I want to, and I'm curious about, from your journalist perspective, what you think about it. This is an opportunity now for the legislature to finally, once and for all, say, let them count the ballots that come in. You're not releasing the results. You're just counting the ballots. Florida has done this now for a decade and a half. It seems to work well. Stop making it harder for the big cities like Milwaukee and other big cities in other states to do the job that has to be done. You got to count them, but if you can accurately count them, not in a hurried pace where you have maybe the likelihood of an error or a counting error or some other mistake that could be critically important in the results of an election, this is the time for the legislature, and it's not that much of an outlier. Ron Johnson, U.S. Senator, last time I checked, one of the most conservative senators in the government, and certainly our senior senator in Wisconsin, endorses the idea. From a journalist perspective, it seems like a no-brainer to me.
Well, my wife certainly endorses the idea because I would get home earlier on election night.
Right.
What you're talking about is the absentee ballots. The cities have them in hand, and they can't do anything until polls open on Election Day. There was a proposal that died in the state Senate last time. I believe the Assembly passed it to allow the day before, hey, maybe you can open those ballots up. Don't put them through machines. Just open them up, flatten them out. You save all kinds of time. You lower the stress level on Election Day. We saw not just Milwaukee, but Oak Creek had problems on election night that things just took longer. Well, if they could have started earlier, it probably wouldn't drag into the middle of the night.
And Robin Vos gets blamed for a lot of things, but I think this one fell on Senate Leader LeMahieu.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, here's your opportunity. You're not often handed ideas, laws, legislation, good ideas that are bipartisan. This is bipartisan. And, as much as you want to have the war of politics and owning the other side, which is, God, I was sick of that 20 years ago, and I'm really even more sick of it now. That seems to be, baked into our politics in the state of Wisconsin. And for whatever reason, maybe it's just the people that do the jobs. This is an easy one. It's not heavy lifting. Get it done. I mean, what's the problem here?
I'm very unclear on why there is opposition to this. I get there are concerns about they're going to know the results before. No, you put in the safeguards. You can't run the ballots through machines, but you can stack them up, flatten them out, make sure the machines are working. get all these things done, lower the stress level.
Last point before we go to break, and then we're going to talk about MPS. New superintendent, by the way. Look, I spent a few minutes talking about the Gableman situation now, giving up his law license for 3 years. Should have been a lifetime ban, but, do what you got to do. And how that was a complete sort of validation of what I said at the beginning, that was a complete waste of time and money, taxpayer money, which, I don't know, $2 million plus we could have used for something else. But, whatever your favorite thing is the government does for you. But now I see a couple elections, more than that, a few elections that have seemed to have gone very well, regardless of the winner. We've had Republicans win, Donald Trump for president. We've had liberal candidates win for, superintendent of public instruction and the Wisconsin Supreme Court on a couple occasions now. Maybe we're doing it okay. We're doing an okay job on elections.
I have full confidence in Wisconsin's elections actually working, despite all the mud we throw at the walls to make it seem terrible.
And maybe my message is stop letting the idiots win the day. Quick break. Jeremy Janine, UrbanMilwaukee.com is where you can find his great work. MPS, new superintendent, after this.
A whole day dedicated to us?
No, dedicated to you, the WTMJ fan.
Come celebrate WTMJ with us, your favorite WTMJ host, at a private tailgate at the Brewers game Saturday, May 17th.
Enjoy food, drinks, and hanging out with us. Plus tickets to the Brewers game as they take on the Twins at AmFam Field.
Get more information and secure your tickets at WTMJday.com.
Tickets will go fast, so sign up today.
We'll see you at the ballpark for WTMJ Day, Saturday, May 17th.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi from MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. I've been doing this for almost 3 months now. Yeah, coming up in 3 months. Fantastic. Game changer. And I've lost 36 pounds. My eventual goal is about 45 now. I've sort of ramped it up because I feel so good. And, boy, my last visit for my annual physical, doc says, whatever you're doing, keep doing it because it's working great. All my numbers were fantastic. So the story is this. You can retrain your metabolism, reset your metabolism, and make your body work the way you want it to. And there's challenges, but there's no drugs, no injections, none of the gimmicky stuff, the shakes and all that stuff. You don't have to do any of that. It's just a process, sort of a realignment of your goals, priorities, and objectives when it comes to your weight and how you feel every day when you wake up. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Typically, people lose 20 to 30 pounds. That's how it works. And you can do it, especially if you have a trip coming up or a big wedding. This is the plan for you. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
Okay, adventurers, listen up. Fox World Travel just dropped some seriously incredible Fox Group vacation destinations for 2026. Set sail on a yacht through the Croatian coastline, join a thrilling African safari, or immerse yourself in the mecca of all flower shows in London. And for the first time, we're introducing a woman's-only tour, partnering with Insight Vacations, Globus, and African Travel. But these are just a few of the exclusive offerings. But don't wait. They're filling up fast. Call 866-GO-FOX-GO to reserve your spot today.
Hour number 2, Political Power Hours, or After Hours, as they like to say, pretending that it's midnight here in Milwaukee. But it's not. It's 10:17 on 620 WTMJ. Joining me in studio, as he often does, from UrbanMilwaukee.com. Very talented writer and a good guy. Jeremy Janine joining me. All right, let's talk about MPS. Lots going on with the MPS. We have a brand new superintendent. What's her name?
Brenda Caselius.
And so what's the news from MPS? What am I gonna like to hear?
There's changes afoot, and they're not just at the superintendent. The superintendent has come in and immediately made a personnel change.
She whacked somebody. Figuratively speaking.
Figuratively. Well, we'll get to my reference in a moment. But Sean Kane, who is the facilities manager, who the state came in and fined for not having a valid architecture license and representing himself like he did. It was expired.
Bit of a problem.
He'd had one at some point. He has the training. They fined him $1,300. Well, he is now, and I'm doing air quotes, separated from the district. That was the district's term. They would not confirm if he resigned or was terminated. But he is gone. The MPS had a press conference with 2 school board members in attendance, the mayor in attendance, and the health department in attendance, because they have this lead crisis that just continues to unfold.
Which should have been solved 20 years ago. I said it last week.
In journalism, I attend these press conferences that I consider drugs on the table press conference. And what I mean by that is like in the case of where the reference comes from, the police department shows that here are drugs we seized. We are doing something.
Right.
The federal government, when it does raids, is really good at that. What I didn't expect was a new superintendent to come in and have a head on a pike press conference right away.
Yeah.
Which was, I am making a change. This person is gone. I'm committed to addressing this issue. And then for the health commissioner, a city employee, not an MPS employee, Michael Tortiardis, to say, yeah, this change was entirely warranted. I'm sorry someone lost their job, but we need to go in a different direction.
That speaks to serious levels of accountability. One, in what you're supposed to be doing, how you're supposed to maintain your resume and your credentials, and two, in the work that you do, and the fact that she came in, she thanked him for his 25 years of service, but like, you're out of here. We're going to get this stuff done. And for those of us who talk about MPS, and I don't do it as much as some of the other talking heads or squawking heads, whatever term you want to use, I'm not here to bash MPS. My brother is a teacher in MPS, and I know a lot of people who work in and around MPS. And there's I think a hope, and hopefully not a hope and a prayer, that we figure things out and we educate our kids. And I've talked long time about the fact that I think we need to get back to basics in MPS, because that sort of gives you a platform and infrastructure to succeed in life. I mean, it's great to have all the extracurriculars and all that stuff, but boy, having those basics. But what I like about this early move in MPS is it signals that this superintendent is serious and committed to making changes, to make changes in this really important school district, largest in the States.
She's committed to making changes, but she's also bringing in someone from the city that ran the lead program at the city. So not only is she pushing someone out the door, but bringing in someone with expertise, which I think says a lot.
And she called the mayor, which I don't know what the relationship of the previous superintendents with the mayor. I'm sure they talk, but I love the fact she called Mayor Cavalier Johnson to get support.
Yeah, she made it clear. She goes, I came from Boston. I'm used to being in a school district that's run by the mayor. That's not the case in Milwaukee, but she said that was one of the first calls she made on this issue. And the mayor allocated resources in terms of this health department leader.
Yeah, I love it. I don't want to leave this issue without talking about the fact that some of the changes that are happening in Washington, D.C. can impact this. And again, my baseline is this should have been dealt with decades ago. It's not good, it's not healthy, it's not safe, and it has long-term mental implications, educational implications for the children that it impacts, and probably adults, now that we're talking about a decades-long problem. The fact that this recent decision-making by the Trump administration could hamper some of the abatement work that's going on here.
Robert F. Kennedy, the head of Health and Human Services, let go of a team of people that were assisting the city, because these abatement projects, the city doesn't actually perform the work, but it goes in and does swabbing and it does other testing to figure out, okay, what is the level of lead contamination? Do we need to act? And there was a team from the Health and Human Services that were all terminated in the middle of helping the city of Milwaukee address this issue. And it's just one of the many changes. They weren't terminated by DOJ. They were terminated within the Health and Human Services Department, but just one of many changes that is going to make it more difficult for local governments to act.
Yeah, and again, as much as we've talked about this issue, I need results. I need results from the Wisconsin legislature. I need results from the governor of Wisconsin. I need results from Congress. I need results from the president of the United States and his administration, because, again, this should not be continuing to be a problem in 2025 when we knew about this issue, 50 years ago?
They banned lead paint in 1978. So.
My God. Almost 50 years ago. Jeremy, Janine, we'll take a quick break here. Lots more to get to, including, I don't know if it's a new proposal for 794, but a slimmed down proposal?
We have refined design.
Oh, is that what they're calling it? All right, Jeremy, Janine, after this.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Excel Custom Decks. I'm the football guy, definitely not the outdoor home projects guy. So when it comes to things like deck building, Excel Custom Decks is the true go-to expert. Family owned and operated, Excel Custom Decks uses the finest materials and products and combines that with superior craftsmanship. If you want your outdoor area to shine this summer, contact Excel Custom Decks now. Whatever you dream up for that perfect deck, pergola, or outdoor kitchen, Rob and his family can build it. Excel Custom Decks, decking excellence by design. Visit excelcustomdecks.com today.
She's different and special and loaded with personality.
And there's one more thing, but you can't explain it in words.
She's the one.
She's the one.
The one.
You know it.
Your friends know it.
The whole world knows it.
We curated a special selection of engagement rings for her.
Can you guess what we call it?
We call it the One Collection by Kessler's.
Because these engagement rings are different.
And special.
And loaded with personality.
And one more thing. but you can't explain it in words.
Engagement rings in the One collection start at just $725.
But some of them are more.
A lot more.
But we've got you covered.
First, we have 12 months financing at 0%. Or,
second, we have 36 months financing at 9.99%, both with approved credit.
Third, we have second chance financing if you need someone to give you a second chance.
and don't forget the Kessler's warranty.
The strongest warranty of any jewelry store in the world.
For the location of the Kesslers nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Accunet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Homebuyer Helper Brian Wickert. One of our senior loan consultants recently helped their first-time homebuyer client win over 13 other offers. Of course, it was a team effort with their buyer's agent, and it centered around helping our clients understand what little difference there was to their monthly payment to offer over the asking price. And again, what little difference it would make to give the sellers peace of mind that they'd still buy even if the appraisal came in up to $20,000 short. But that's not all. Our consultant also texted and called the listing agent to reinforce how well qualified our buyers were and that they could, in fact, still close even if the appraisal came in low. Your Accunet consultant will help you understand your options so you can decide how aggressive you want to be. Then we do everything possible to help you win. Don't let someone else end up sleeping in your dream home. Know your options and get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
CertaPro Painters, transform my house. WTMJ's John Mercure here. It's absolutely beautiful. The pros came out to our house, sat down with my wife Michelle and me, weren't sure what color we wanted. They were able to walk us through specific colors for our house and for our neighborhood. That's just how they roll. For your home or business, it's CertaPro. Schedule your free estimate at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C. Call right now and ask about their spring sales event going on now through May 15th. They are quite simply absolutely the best. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated.
Jazz will have to tell me who this artist is. I was going to say Marshall Tucker Band, but is it? Oh, still got the ear for Marshall Tucker. MTB, as we used to call him. I probably saw him in concert 10 times back in the 80s and 90s. Jeremy Janine, who probably has never seen the Marshall Tucker Band in concert, I would guess.
I have not.
Yeah. From Urban Milwaukee is great work. How do folks find out your great work there?
UrbanMilwaukee.com and on all the social media platforms.
Yeah, and they're really good at local reporting and beyond. They're some great people working there. All right. I haven't talked about it in a while, but 794, obviously a hot topic. What to do with it, that little spur between the lake and the Marquette. There's some new options, apparently.
So they are refined options. What's happening now is the state, it was a little over a year ago, or about a year ago, threw out like 8 or 9 concepts. They've now taken feedback and refined it down to 4. I would argue there's really only 2 if you want to keep track of it.
And the 2 are?
The 2 are slimming it down, and especially at the eastern end by the Hohen Bridge, it's extra wide because there's supposed to be this big interchange.
Yeah,
it's no longer there. They would also remove some of the on and off ramps like Milwaukee and Broadway. And then the other option is making it a boulevard essentially from the Marquette interchange the whole way to the Hohen Bridge. And so that...
With lights or just open? I mean, open traffic. Or would they have stoplights? Probably not, right?
They would be similar to looking at McKinley Avenue. So the question is, well, how are those stoplights timed? What does that boulevard actually look like? And the state has now released in a stakeholder meeting, and this is how I got access. A tipster provided it to us, these draft plans. And they're still soliciting feedback. City engineer Kevin Muse has made it clear that they're asking lots of questions of the state, and that's why this process is dragged on. They want to know about, questions like traffic timing and what does the state think? What does the city think? There's the big question of right now, 794, it's elevated freeway through downtown. It goes over the river on a elevated freeway. Mm-hmm. So you don't need to open and close it. It's high enough. Right. Well, if you make a boulevard, you're going to need to open and close it.
Yep.
Well, how often do you actually need to open and close it? And then if you want to get way into the weeds, and I'll save this for your Thursday show with the attorneys and judges that come on, the Northwest Territory that established Wisconsin governs that waterways get priorities over roads and all kinds of stuff there.
That always drives me nuts because just not to make it personal, but I go west on Michigan Avenue from the lakefront in the morning, and if the lights are often screwed up, we got the hops in there, and that can take over the lights, and that normally a 3-minute trip can take like 10 minutes sometimes, and you throw a ship coming through or a boat coming through. That's not the way we should move traffic, in my opinion.
The question is, how much traffic are we really moving through the entire end to end? And
I'm just talking about me.
All right, so Steve needs to get here by 8:50 to be on the air by 9, so we can time the street.
I don't want to wait at lights.
So I think that is a big question. That that intersection everyone hates. We talked about it about a month ago, that off-ramp.
Yeah.
Under any scenario, that gets entirely rebuilt. That's gone.
That has to happen.
Because the state's essentially admitting they made a mistake there. There will be public meetings on this, chance for people to make their input heard. But if you're looking for more right now, urbanmilwaukee.com, search for Interstate 794.
And they're also asking for feedback on some of the other ideas about sort of limiting or reducing traffic deaths. And this is an important issue.
Yeah, Vision Zero, there's a draft plan right now. The idea is eliminating all traffic deaths, not just drivers, but pedestrians, cyclists. The city has 7 strategies and 100 action items. They want your feedback on what's the most important.
All right. I'm off next Tuesday, so we'll see you in a couple weeks.
See ya. Enjoy Vegas.
I will. Las Vegas, everybody. I'm looking forward to it because here's my scenario. I'm going to be watching the Masters, maybe gambling on the Masters, and then everything else that Vegas offers with my lovely wife, Kathy, and our friends, our travel companions. So we're going to have fun. Jerry Maginin, always great. UrbanMilwaukee.com. We got local news with one of our great crew here at WTMJ. There's like 18 people in the studio, so I don't know who's doing it. But one of them will contribute something in the form of local news. So we got that coming up. I have Kristen Bride joining me in a little bit. So you hear in the afternoon, spanning the state, and maybe soon to be elsewhere. And then, of course, we have the latest now from ABC News.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Sherry Preston. The next round of Trump tariffs set to take effect at midnight. The White House insisting that countries are lining up to negotiate down their surcharges. Here's ABC White House correspondent Karen Travers.
President Trump says a delegation from South Korea is traveling to the U.S. to meet with his administration to discuss trade following his phone call with the acting president there. The president on social media said there's a probability of a great deal for both countries, but gave no specifics of what he's looking to negotiate. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said Tuesday morning officials from Vietnam will be coming to Washington this week, and the Japanese are also eager to start talks. Bessent telling ABC News.
And I think you're going to see a couple of big trading partners do deals very quickly.
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
The Dow jumped at the opening bell. It was up more than 1,400 points at one point this morning, but has since fallen back down to 750. Same with the S&P, which is now below 100. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:31. I'm Vince Vitrano. Happening right now, Milwaukee Police Chief Jeffrey Norman releasing new crime data for the city of Milwaukee. First quarter numbers are in. The most alarming trend, a 50% increase in human trafficking compared with 2024. Homicides up slightly year over year. All other forms of violent crime, according to MPD, are down in the city, including aggravated assaults, arson, and carjackings. Harley-Davidson CEO Jochen Seitz planning to retire this year. Seitz says he'll remain in the position until the company's board identifies his successor to, quote, ensure an orderly leadership transition. Seitz appointed in May of 2020. Green Bay Packers annual tailgate tour hits the road today and tonight lands in Milwaukee. Packers president and CEO Mark Murphy, former and current players will visit more than a dozen communities over the next 5 days across the state, from La Crosse to Milwaukee. Tonight, a ticketed event with proceeds benefiting the Professional Firefighters of Wisconsin Charitable Foundation. 6 p.m. at the Baird Center downtown. Time for news about your money. WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update, and things still holding in the green. Dow Jones Industrial Average up about 800 points, which right now is more than 2%. At 38,766, S&P 500 at 5172. That's up over 100 points. And the NASDAQ up nearly 400, about 2.5% to 15,992. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Take a look at the roads. Your WTMJ time saver traffic. No incidents or delays this hour on the freeway system. So we're looking at about a 15-minute drive from 4145 southbound to Highway Q to the Zoo. Southbound from Brown Deer Road into the Marquette interchange, about 14 minutes. And coming up from the south side, Layton Avenue to the Marquette at 7. Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Sunny and cold today, high of 40 degrees. Tonight's low down to 31 under increasing clouds. Rain and snow showers possible on Wednesday, high of 41. Thursday's high 42 with rain and snow early, then mostly cloudy. Mostly sunny on Friday and Saturday. Friday's high 46, Saturday 52. Right now in Madison, 31 degrees. Same temperature in Green Bay, Waukesha at 30, and in Milwaukee, 31 degrees. I'm Vince Vitrano, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:34.
It's Gina Della. You've heard me define what makes Pella Windows and Doors different. Let me introduce you to the woman behind the billboards, commercials, and share my extraordinary journey of resilience, reinvention, and shattering glass ceilings every Saturday morning at 6:30 on 620 WTMJ and anywhere you stream podcasts for What's the Difference with Gina Della to discuss business coaching across all industries, featuring successful executives, entrepreneurs, and mentors along the way. This is a story you won't want to miss.
Beer fans, travel lovers, and history buffs, this is your dream vacation. Join me, Sandy Max, on a 10-day journey through Germany, Austria, and the Czech Republic. We'll enjoy Munich's famous beer halls, sip our way through Salzburg's historic breweries, and discover Vienna's culture and craft beer scene. Then end the tour in Prague, where ancient history meets modern brews. From iconic castles to authentic flavors, grab your passport and let's raise a glass to the ultimate beer adventure. Limited spots available. Book now. Email me, sandy@wtmj.com to learn more.
Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Jesus promises hope even to the criminal being crucified alongside him. This is Archbishop Jeffrey Grob. During this Jubilee year, the Holy Father has asked us to be signs of hope for others. Our brothers and sisters who are imprisoned, sick, or disabled may feel like there is very little hope for them. We are to visit them, provide care for them, and be a sign of Jesus' hope in their lives. It's Lent. Please join us at Mass.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for USA Insulation. Premium injection foam, filling your walls and saving you money from day one. Jeff and his team at USA Insulation do a full energy audit on your home or business to see where you're losing money. Then they help you score rebates and discounts that can cut the cost of your project in half. Then they get you 0% interest on financing for up to 72 months. It's a home improvement project that actually saves you money. Tell Jeff Vinny sent you to usainsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
I hear the train a-comin', it's rolling around a bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since...
Here's the wild thing about this. So Jazz plays this. I was singing this during the break. I don't know why. I think Jazz said train for some reason. Keep the train rolling. And then I started singing the song, and then he brings it back with John. She brings it back with Johnny Cash.
There you go.
Kristen Bry, what are you?
job.
You're in the afternoon. Why are you here?
Because you asked me to be here.
Oh, that's right.
Because you got 2 hours.
You know why you're here?
Can you still know how to fill 2 hours?
I could fill 5 hours and would do so if asked, because I'm a team player.
We never really got to talk about this. Do you think you could have pulled off what Cory Booker did last week?
Yeah.
You think you could stand and talk for 25 hours?
Yeah. I've stayed up for 38 hours, so I can do it.
But that's
driving, too.
But he's driving and delivering a speech the same.
Yeah, keep in mind, his speech was written down. He's not just like, going off the cuff. It was written down.
At least he didn't read from the encyclopedia.
True, which has been done before many times.
Which is what Strom Thurmond did, right?
Yeah.
And he also was allowed to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Different rules. Also, his messaging was not as good as Cory Booker's, in my opinion. So one of the reasons there's a couple things we're going to do, but you don't know this is coming. So
I don't. I asked you this morning what we're talking about.
Yeah, prepare yourself.
Said, just take my lead.
So somebody
this
said,
is the trust we have.
Somebody that listened to us on Friday, I was on your show Thursday and Friday, I believe, last week, Spanning the State, 1 to 3 in the afternoons, right now. They said, who's Kristen Bry? Because they're not like a regular listener. And
Wait, did they email you that?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I said, well, she's done a show for, I don't know, how long have you done the show? A year?
It's been a little over a year.
Yeah. Spanning the States. You talk about a lot of things. It's sort of state-focused.
Mm-hmm.
But the story, our story actually goes back years, like 4 years, because I saw your work on social media, at which you are brilliant, by the way.
2020.
Yeah. And I said, that's somebody that I want to at least talk to. So I slid into your
You did slide, and not a creepy way.
Yeah, which I don't really do anyway, because I hate messages. Matter of fact, that's something we're going to talk about, too. You guys text too much. You, Makashans, I'm not used to texting that much.
It's because you're a boomer.
Oh my God! So why the insult?
No, it's just. I don't think that's an insult. I think it's just a fact. As far as my mother, you, a lot of people in that age range did not grow up using their thumbs like this, and you probably don't have the stress on this ligament in your thumb like I do.
Hands are really
that is
good.
very tight because I spend way too much time on my phone or the neck problems that I have.
I would answer the who is Kristen Bry question by simply saying she's a brilliant teammate that I love to work with and knows kind of what she's talking about on most issues and does her homework, has a great communications background in a lot of different ways, a lot of different jobs and experience, and sort of tells a great story that's more in tune with how maybe new technology is taking us. Is that like sort of
fair?
Yeah. But how would you describe yourself?
I would describe myself, well, I mean, in my bio or whatever, I'm a radio host, I'm a columnist, I'm a video creator that tries to add humor and context to complicated news stories.
I would agree with that assessment.
And so what's really funny is I don't think I've told this story on air before, but if you remember last year when the new lineup was announced, there were certain, we'll say, right-leaning news outlets that kind of made me the poster child of the new direction WTMJ was going in. Because if anyone's listened to me, I think it's not a shock I lean left. And I have family that lives in Pewaukee. And I went over there that weekend after kind of the news broke. And my aunt said, "You've been all over my Facebook." And I go, "What do you mean?" And there was lots of people who had lots of thoughts about me getting this job.
Everybody has thoughts.
And one of the comments she said she read was, "Who is this girl? She just kind of popped up out of nowhere. Who's her dad?" And that's a big joke in our family because my actual dad, for years, because of his time on the Badgers and the different business things, all of his other 4 siblings constantly lived under his shadow of being like, "Are you related to Pete Bry?"
He's a famous guy.
The joke was, Pete Bry. But Pete Bry has no pull in the media world anymore.
No, he doesn't.
So I did not get these jobs because of my dad.
That's good. And I think that's the right way to look at it. You're good at what you do. And I think one of the things I love about working with you is you look at issues, sometimes very serious, complex issues, in a different way than I do. And it's why we do the You Need to Listen podcast, because we're able to explore things. So many podcasts are one host or 2 hosts who essentially both sort of feel the same way. We disagree on stuff. And again, I want to tell people it's not absolute. Like I wouldn't do a podcast if we're always going to disagree. Sometimes we may agree on something. There's nuance to everything. And when we're talking about issues that matter to people's lives, which is kind of what we do on this station, we don't bloviate on behalf of parties. We don't bloviate on behalf of political candidates or elected officials, because frankly, I know those outlets are popular. It's just a waste of time. What do you sit there and nod your head to everything they say because you like it? How is that do anything to your brain matter? It's like a waste of your time. Go do something else, because I can guarantee if you go tomorrow, they'll be saying the same damn things that they said the day you missed.
There you go.
All right. I'm not telling you about any of the rest of the stuff we're talking about this half hour, because I want to surprise you with all the topics.
All right.
Now this is something you sent me that I want to ask you about.
Okay.
And whether this will catch up.
I sent you a lot of things, so that could be... that didn't really narrow it down.
You, Makashin, and Zapecki, 5,000 texts last year from you guys.
You counted?
I deleted all of them, the old texts. And I saw because here's a little tip for all of you on your smartphone. Clean your smartphones. You don't have to keep all this stuff. If you delete stuff, it goes to a recently deleted batch for, I think, 120 days or something, 90 days. But you're going to see the actual number of how many times someone texted you. It's so enlightening. 5,000, maybe it's 6,000.
Do you text anyone more than you text the 3 of us?
No, I don't even like
Not
text.
even your kids?
I rarely text my kids. I don't even like texting. Texting's stupid. Kristen Bry, yours truly, Steve. Bonus hour this week. And by the way, stay tuned. Quick break.
Welcome to The Knowledge Brokers, a weekly feature covering the dynamics of the insurance market, how it affects Wisconsin businesses, and all of us who live here. Sponsored by the original knowledge broker, R&R Insurance. Joining us today, Jeff Salasinski, Vice President of Insurance Operations. Jeff, last few months we have had a lot of newsworthy insurance-related events. Regular stream of things that remind us of the importance of properly designed insurance programs. So give us your perspective from where you sit.
Sure, Vince. Thanks. Great to be here. It really has been a tough finish to 2024 and a very difficult start in 2025. A school violence event in Madison in December, a terrorism event in New Orleans on New Year's Day, the California wildfires, just a massive event for the residents and certain insurance companies. There have been some employment matters in the news here recently as well. Lastly, a cyber data breach impacting over 60 million students and teachers.
So, Jeff, for folks listening right now, what should their primary takeaway be from all this?
Vince, quite simply, a properly designed insurance program has never been more relevant, more important than today. If you're not getting good guidance and options from your insurance provider, or you're buying online, you're jeopardizing your assets, your business, maybe your future.
Okay, so families, businesses, why should they work with R&R Insurance?
We deliver thought leadership around asset protection. It's what we do best. We inform you of where the opportunities are in today's market. We work with you to best position your account, your company for review by an underwriter, and R&R can get multiple companies competing for your account. It'll cost you nothing to sit down and talk with R&R Insurance. If you're looking for a better insurance buying experience, we'd love to speak with you. At R&R Insurance, we know business insurance.
Jeff Salazinski, Vice President of Insurance Operations at R&R Insurance. Thanks for the great info, Jeff. And you can get started online right now. Find out more at myknowledgebroker.com.
Find it, buy it, ride it. Find it, buy it, ride it.
Find a bike, buy a bike, ride a bike. Friday noon to 8, Saturday 10 to 8, and Sunday 11 to 5 at State Fair Park inside the Expo Center.
Visit bikeexposale.com for details. Admission is free.
You only get one chance to make a first impression, and that goes double for your home listing, because that's how you're going to get the most value. By having a customized marketing plan specific to your property with professional photos, global marketing, and the built-in experience that Century 21 Benefit Realty has brought to the table since 2004. And being joined with Century 21 just makes all of the above stand out that much more. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
So how is that possible? 1.9% real estate commission? There must be something you're not telling me.
I hear that a lot. The truth is, everybody could do it, but they choose not to because folks keep paying more than they have to. I guess they just haven't heard yet that Century 21 Benefit Realty can make that 1.9% real estate commission promise on the sale of your home and stick to it. So I'd like to think that's going to make your decision easy. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Sailing through the second hour of Political Power Hours. My friend and teammate, Kristen Bride, joining me in studio. All right, so you sent me this text this morning. I still haven't been able to prove that this is correct, that Fabletics, this sort of a leisure company, clothing, shoes, accessories, has now what they're calling a tariff tax, apparently in response to the actions of the president.
You think it's
I've seen some people say it's not true, but, whatever. I think this is something we might see because, and I actually went back to remember the pandemic when restaurants were adding this, sort of pandemic charge for all the things they had to do, all the equipment, PPE, remember all that stuff? Yep. So, one, do you think the story's real? And two, do you expect, as someone who kind of looks at all this stuff, that we're going to see more of this?
So we should probably explain more what it was. So one of is it Krassenstein? How do you pronounce their last name? It's brothers who, they're behind Midas Touch and like anti-Trumpers. They had tweeted out a photo of a screenshot of someone who bought from Fabletics, which is like Athleta or Lululemon. Yeah. And there was a line on it under taxes, like the tariff fee. Yeah. And it was $44 based on, it was like shipping, 0, taxes, X, tariff, 44. And the question being like, are we going to see more of this if and when the tariffs stay for companies to justify prices going up, which I think is actually a smart thing for companies to be that kind of transparent. Now, I saw it and I sent it to you guys. I'm happy I didn't repost it because I try to be because
you can
careful.
Make anything look real.
Well, because you saw what happened yesterday with the one false tweet that led to a $4 trillion market move because journalists and a bunch of people didn't verify whether or not it was true.
And bigger points here. That's why words matter. When you say stuff, especially when the president of the United States, now today, he's talking about implementing some stuff at midnight against China. So we have a rebound going on today on the markets, which I think those of us who are heavily invested in the markets love to see because we've taken a beating in the last week and whatever. But now the president's going to go re-up his efforts to sort of inject himself into this conversation, which is a real conversation. Whatever you think about tariffs, there are inequities built into the system of how we do things with other countries in the world. But I would argue this president, one, is not smart enough to figure this stuff out. He's not a guy who has a lot of economic background when it comes to the impact of tariffs, what they actually mean, what they are, how they influence markets. And then to do it in the willy-nilly way he's approaching it, which is sort of the whole way that they're doing everything, is a lot of surface-level stuff, saying stuff, not doing the homework, not doing the data research, the analytics, all the stuff that actually gives you a sound decision. this is why this stuff drives me nuts. But when I see stories like this, it does give me pause that we have to start thinking about how we communicate at the highest level down to what we do. And so I pulled back on that story because I was actually going to do it today, and I did a little bit of talking about it. Whether or not this is real, and this is sort of a long-winded response to what you just said, when you have AI and the ability to create and manufacture or craft almost anything that looks real, this is where it gets really dangerous because words, posts, actions can have significant impact on our daily lives and can ruin people's lives, and some of it might not be true. That's a huge story, in my opinion.
Which part? The part
fact
whether
that
or not
it
it's
looks
true?
real, but we don't know. Right now, I do not know.
Who's saying it's not? Because I didn't see any reporting that people are saying it's not real.
I don't have it up. I had it up early on the screen, but a lot of people are saying the story is manufactured.
Well, did Fabletics say something?
I haven't seen a comment from Fabletics.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but then I'm going to pull back on it because I don't know.
But that's a smart thing. That's the way that it should be handled. I mean, that's the thing I feel like where we're moving now is the burden is on all of us as information consumers to verify something before we share it, retweet it. Did I share this with you as far as I was talking to someone who studies misinformation, disinformation, partisanship, that one of the things that social media companies could do that would immediately cut down on the fire of misinformation and disinformation is, and without having to do fact checking, without having to censor anyone, take away the reshare button.
I didn't see that.
I didn't post it. I thought I didn't know if I told you about this.
No.
This was a conversation that I had with someone. It's like if you take
sign me up.
If you take away the ability for something to go so easily go viral by sharing it to your Instagram story, by reposting it on X, by all the different on sharing it on Facebook, so you can still consume it, but your ability to amplify it gets shut down, and so you're not really infringing on anyone's free speech, but the things that are emotionally charged sometimes are not telling the whole story or are just outright false.
Yeah.
And so stopping the ability for that to spread so quickly could solve a lot of our problems.
And the real life version of that is somebody told me a long time ago, and I don't remember who it was. Just when you're fired up about something, pause for a second, think about what you're going to say. Use your brain, your experience, all your tenure, if you're talking about a job or a workplace situation, and then say what you're going to say.
Like the emotional regulation we teach toddlers.
Exactly.
Take a breath.
That's a good one.
Count to 10.
Yeah, absolutely. That's your mom voice. That's very good. Kristen Bride joining us. All right, rapid fire after this, okay? Ready?
Okay.
All right, you don't know what's coming with
I
that
do
either.
not.
All right, quick break as we wrap the second hour of the PPH.
We get it. You're on the go, and life gets in the way. Stay up to date on all things WTMJ with podcasts of every show. Available on WTMJ.com. And don't forget you can stream WTMJ online and watch your favorite WTMJ shows on YouTube. Every show, when you want it, no matter where you are. We are Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio 620 WTMJ.
I'm not against shopping online. In fact, you can check out our huge selection at BurkhartSportingGoods.com. But when you're ready to buy, Burkhart should be your only stop. Because here, you can grab hold of the Midwest's largest selection of baseball bats, gloves, and equipment, and take all the swings you need in our indoor batting cages to make sure you buy the right bat. And when you buy your new mitt, we'll steam and custom fit it for you right on the spot. This is Brian Burkhart, and when you love baseball and softball like we do,
You can't beat Burkhart.
if you're in charge of uniforms and equipment, you want to get the most value for your team's budget. You want the most for your money, and you want the process to be easy. Because you already have enough on your plate. We get it. Burkhart Sporting Goods Team Outfitting Division is the best you'll find. With an abnormally high customer satisfaction rate and our own silk screening and embroidery facility for quality control. So if you want the highest quality team outfitting and incredible service,
You can't beat Burkhart.
Outdoor Living Unlimited puts cool stuff in your yard. Patios, decks, pergolas, outdoor kitchens, screen rooms, even in-ground pools. You dream it, we design it together, then Outdoor Living Unlimited installs it for you. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
The most common reason pain sufferers come to us is to be able to perform their daily tasks without suffering through them. Grandparents who want to be able to take their grandkids on walks and to the park. Or those that just want to be able to get out of their vehicle with more ease than pain. Rejuvenex pain treatments can help, and the sooner you get to calming down that pain, the better it will be. These are powerful, FDA-approved pain treatments precisely administered with an extremely small needle to get to the root of your pain. And before you know it, you'll feel the anti-inflammatory power of Toradol and the cushioning relief of hyaluronic acid. Positive patient results are regularities, not rarities. And we do this conveniently in office, so it's very easy for you. And we're in network with most insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid, which could mean zero out-of-pocket costs for your pain relief treatment.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Tell us a little bit about innovative signs.
We're located out in Waukesha. Where we are really focused mostly is manufacturing outdoor electrical signs.
You came to Horicon Bank. How do you think other local businesses can benefit?
When I call, Michelle picks up the phone, and when I email, she responds in a timely manner. A few years ago, I talked to my accountant about shopping around looking for a different bank just to get some alternatives, and he said, absolutely not. You're not going to like working for a big bank. They have a lot more regulations. So that's how we got involved with Cornerstone Bank. When Horicon purchased Cornerstone, we came along for the ride, and it's been great.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
I did it my
I love that song, Frank Sinatra. All right, quick rapid fire, Kristen Bry for 2 minutes. If your smartphone wouldn't allow you to make phone calls, actual phone calls, would you miss it?
No, because I mostly just text and I do everything
How
but
many times
talk
do you
on the
text a
phone.
day? More than 100 or more than 500?
More than 100. I don't think it's more than 500.
That's crazy. You know how many times I text a day? 5. Mostly to you and
That's why
Bill
you don't
and
have
Joe.
a strained thumb ligament.
All right, another rapid fire. Brewers, Bucks, Packers. Which is your favorite? You can't take forever to think
Sorry,
about. Rapid fire.
Packers, Bucks, Brewers,
Yeah.
but Bucks and Packers very close.
No, pick one.
Packers.
Why?
Nostalgia. I think growing up in our house, it's just there's so much wrapped up in my mom and Packer Sundays, and yeah.
You were a hooper.
I was.
Could you play right now?
I told Brandon Snide yesterday, I would beat him at horse.
You said that to Brandon?
I could not beat Ben Brust, but I would put myself against
You're
most
not
people.
gonna beat Ben
No,
Brust.
I said I wouldn't beat
Yeah,
Ben
of
Brust,
course
but
you're not
there's most. I think I would fare very well in a game of horse against most people we work with.
I almost beat Mike Dunleavy, former coach of the Bucks, in a game of horse until he took it seriously. He started doing behind the basket shots. I was making every shot that he made. For
Really?
10 in a row.
You
He
made
goes,
10 shots in a row.
Yeah, he goes, damn, you got some skills.
I didn't know that about you.
I have a picture of the actual events. It's on my wall in my office at home.
All right.
Last one. Who's your favorite teammate?
You.
Oh, was that sort of a that was a teed up for me there? How about that? Well, for all those folks who say you said it, now if other people say it too, you might actually have something here. All right, thanks for sitting in.
You're going to be with me tomorrow.
Yeah, not right away because I said
1:30 to
I have
2.
very important business to take care of at 1, but I will get there as soon as I can. You're on from 1 to 3 today. Do you know what you're talking about today?
Today we have a fun show. So we have, it's Giving Tuesday, so we're going to highlight a student at University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire who is working towards fighting food insecurity for students on campus. We're going to be talking to Joe Tucker, who is starting a Panther Fund for UWM athletes for the NIL.
Proud Panther, by the way.
Yeah, he played with my brother because my brother was on the basketball team when Bruce Pearl was
Oh,
still
I didn't
here.
know that. I didn't know your brother played.
He walked on.
Could you beat him in horse?
Probably not.
All right, we got to get out of here.
all right,
We got to
we
get
gotta
out of here. Kristen Bry, spanning the states. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll hear you tomorrow, too.
A buck in today's world doesn't go far unless you're spending it at Griffin. Because for just $1 over cost,